10 of the last 20 Kentucky Derby champions have also won the Preakness Stakes, but only American Pharoah sealed the Triple Crown deal in the Belmont. Will Justify follow in his footsteps? It's time for Road to the Triple Crown, presented by TwinSpires.com. Joe Christofak alongside TwinSpires.com clocker Brandon Staubel. And Brandon, it's day 4 of the march towards Elmont, New York, and the Belmont Stakes for Kentucky Derby and Preakness winner Justify. What have you seen the last couple of days?
Yeah, he's looked good, Joe. You know, they're going to pick it up a little bit the next couple days. Baffert's coming in tomorrow is what it sounds like. They're going to do a little more today. He's going to check him out tomorrow, and if all goes well, it may be thinking Tuesday breeze. It's not confirmed yet, but that's what he did with American Pharoah. Looking back on Thursday, you know, typically after the race, you'll come back and jog a little bit. He went straight to a gallop because he was feeling so well. And I was sitting next to you when we were watching that. And I said, he's going to gallop. He's not jogging. And he looked great out there. He's continued to look great in the flesh. And, you know, it's one of those things where they're just trying to keep him happy. You hear Jimmy Barnes talking about it. He couldn't be happier with the way the horse is doing. And he's continued that progression all the way up until we saw yesterday. He continued on the track looking good again. You can see him on the screen in here. The ears are forward. And we've talked about that before, just the horse being alert out there and having fun, and you can just tell too with the extension that he's getting behind. He's feeling good in the hind. James talked about yesterday the power coming from the hind end. He's exactly right, and that's what you want to see too. Even in these slow gallops, you want to see the fact that the horse is pushing from behind with a good push. He's feeling good out there, and then you can see him with that aggressive, almost you know, wanting to kick the ground out from underneath him a little bit, and the ears just flopping back and forth. You can just tell he's having a fun time out there, and that's what it's all about, keeping him happy into the race and going into the breeze as well, because the breeze will be an important step to what we've talked about it before. It's a building block. It's like building a house, one brick after another. Today will be just another step in that forward direction towards the Belmont, Joe. Now,
we got some rain here in Louisville. The Monomoy Girl workout that was scheduled for this morning has been pushed back to 9 o'clock for Brad Cox. Justify has handled an off-track, obviously, in the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, but anything different that you're going to look for, the way he handles, you know, an off-track with his gallop today? Are they going to do anything different because of the way the track is?
No, I don't think so. I think that what they're going to do is just continue to do what they've been doing. They may slow him down a little bit. I could see, because the breeze is coming up soon, they maybe want to slow him down just a little bit. And he did that with American Pharoah too. You don't want him galloping up a storm into the workout, and then, you know, not doing what he needs to do in the workout. So they might slow him down the next couple of days just a little bit, so when that workout comes, he's ready to go. He's fresh, and he shows that speed that Baffert's always known for having.
Now, the designated training period is 7:30 to 7:40. We're going to see Justify. We're going to see Tenfold and several of the other Belmont Stakes possibles in that training period time of 10 minutes. And there's a lot of great stuff going on, obviously, in horse racing with the Road to the Triple Crown continuing on to Belmont with the potential of a Triple Crown winner. And his name is Justify. And TwinSpires.com is going to do something great for new players. Get a free $10 bet. Go to TwinSpires.com and use the promo code JUSTIFY. This is for new players. You can start building towards that $100 sign-up bonus as well. TwinSpires.com is fast, safe, and easy. New players watching from all over the country, all over the world. Again, $10 free bet. Go to TwinSpires.com. Promo code is JUSTIFY. Well, Brandon, only 12 previous horses have been able to win the Triple Crown. We had a long gap between Affirmed and American Pharoah. We had 3 in a short time period in the 70s. Potentially, Bob Baffert could do it twice in the last few years, as he did it with American Pharoah in 2015. It was a long wait between Affirmed and American Pharoah, but this is the very exclusive list of Triple Crown winners. Some legendary horses on here: Secretariat, Citation, etc., etc. But certainly a list that if you make it, you're a legend.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about this. When it happens, it seems to happen in spurts, and we had one in 2015 with American Pharoah, possibly another one here, and we've had several other tries before that too, where people have gone into the Belmont with the connections, hoping to have that last jewel. But lucky enough in 2015 to see American Pharoah train here as well, and it's pretty crazy, in my opinion, to be able to say that in the last 5 years of being out here, that I'm possibly going to see 2 Triple Crown winners. Yeah. Some people only see 1 in their lifetime. So.
Right, and here are the horses that won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown, the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes, only to be denied in the Belmont. And 10 of the last 20, in fact. You're going to see I'll have another on that list. I'll have another didn't run in the Belmont Stakes. I remember getting off the plane that morning and my phone was blowing up, and it's like, I'll have another's not going to run. So that was a disappointment. Smarty Jones was a heartbreaker, Brandon. Real Quiet was a heartbreaker as well. Sunday Silence, defeated by Easy Goer, one of the great rivalries of all time. That's really what got me even more involved in the sport, was watching those two great horses go head to head. There's always a storyline, even if it doesn't happen. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, like they like to say. And it's always fun to watch the Belmont Stakes when a Triple Crown is on the line.
Yeah, and you talk about perseverance with Bob Baffert, too. Look how many times he was alive for the Triple Crown and didn't get it, but yet he keeps working, he keeps going, and he finally got it with American Pharoah. But, yeah, California Chrome, just kind of ran around the track that day. I'll have another with Scratch before I remember seeing him on TV and that Friday saying that he's got an injury, he's not going to run. Big Brown. I mean, there's been so many good horses that haven't done it, so to be able to put yourself on that list is just really special. Yeah,
you've got to run 4 miles in 5 weeks, 3 different venues to overcome a lot of adversity in the process. You mentioned Bob Baffert. He had been there before. In fact, all 5 of his Kentucky Derby and Preakness winners have gone on to make an attempt at the Triple Crown. Silver Charm was the first in 1997. He ran a huge race, barely got beat by Touch Gold. Real Quiet looked like a winner at the 8th pole. Victory Gallop came and got him in the final jump, a race that everyone will remember. War Emblem didn't have a chance after he left the starting gate. He stumbled badly in a Belmont Stakes that was won by Kenny McPeek's Saraba at 70-1. And then American Pharoah, he went wire to wire in the Belmont. 5.5 lengths was the margin of victory. It was exciting because of what happened that day, but the result really was never in doubt once he got on the lead and got comfortable.
Yeah, we've talked about this with the Derby point system, the fact that some of these sprinters that used to be in the Derby, they're not there anymore, and you can see that American Pharoah on the Belmont, they just went ahead and took him straight to the lead. So once we get closer to the race, we can start talking about tactics, but not surprised if they do the same thing with Justify and just say, look, we feel like we're the best horse. Let's go ahead and just go to the lead and play catch me if you can. Because if, in the Belmont, if you get in that type of stride and that rhythm early on and you're left unchallenged, I mean, with the talent of Justify, they're not going to catch him. So it's going to be interesting to see what the connections do. I have a feeling we'll be able to tell a little bit by the workouts, when he worked Justify leading up to the Derby and the Santa Anita Derby, he put him in company, slow works behind horses. Let's see if maybe during these last 2 breezes, supposed to be breezes here at Churchill, if he ramps it up and lets him really fly, 6 furlongs, 111 type stuff. We'll see what he does, but that may, provide some insight into what their tactics are for the race.
Bob Baffert has an experience doing this. He had those 2 near misses at the front end of it. Then War Emblem didn't have a chance, so we don't know what would have happened. American Pharoah did it, but that experience that Bob Baffert has certainly comes into play.
Yeah, definitely, and we talked about it with the Derby, too, and you saw the results with Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown. They had both been there before. They finished 2 and 3. Baffert's been here before. You've got horses like Hofberg. Bill Mott has won that race before. Steve Asmussen won the race with Creator. He's got tenfold here, so, just really excited about this Belmont, and it seems like we talked about it before Derby. This is a top-notch group. You're going to get that in the Belmont, too. Justify's not going to have a walkover in there.
Yeah, and if you want information about Justify's march towards the Triple Crown, I've got a great way for you guys to get it. Follow those latest videos, all the insight into Justify's journey to the Triple Crown. All you got to do is join our email list at KentuckyDerby.com. Videos, insight, the journey of Justify. The Triple Crown is on the horizon. Join our email list at KentuckyDerby.com. One of those horses that's progressing towards a possible peak run in the Belmont. He keeps getting better, seemingly. You mentioned Steve Asmussen winning the Belmont a couple of years ago with Creator. His name is Tenfold, and I know you've been impressed by what you've seen the last few mornings.
Yeah, especially yesterday. Obviously, we're all impressed by Justify. He's doing great out there, but I really liked the way that Tenfold was moving yesterday in his gallops, just really bouncing over the ground. And I would say I've never been next to these horses side by side, but I would say Tenfold lengthwise might be just as long as Justify. I mean, Tenfold is a large animal and very light on his feet for how large he is. And you can see him right here. He's just getting over the ground really well. They've got the draw reins on him, just trying to keep him somewhat relaxed into the bit. You saw those with Always Dreaming a couple years ago. So something the barn uses if they need to. They're very familiar with that. Obviously, the Asmussen.
Explain the draw reins. I mean, they're a little shorter.
Yeah, and they're just trying to keep the head down and just try to relax him on the bit a little bit. You know, have a tendency to maybe throw the head up and just try to get him to relax and be a little softer on the bit that's in the mouth there. So you can see the rider's just got a long hold. He's got the hands back by the neck, real back by the saddle, and he's just having fun out there. And you can see that same kind of aggressive movement with the fronts that we see from Justify in here. And I just like the way, for how big he was very light on his feet. And when he came around down the stretch yesterday during his gallop, just caught the eye. He's carrying tremendous flesh. And one thing about the Asmussen barn and some of the more patient barns, they don't really run back quickly. They like to give their horses time. And right after the Preakness, Asmussen said, look, we're going to Belmont. So 2-week turnaround. He's very confident in this horse, and I loved what I saw yesterday.
All right, so the training period for today, Sunday, is about to begin. As you see, Tenfold from yesterday, horses will be coming out onto the racetrack. I believe Justify has been spotted. He will be out there very, very shortly, and it'll be interesting to see, obviously, what he does this morning as that march continues towards possibly a workout in the very near future. Just want to maintain what we've seen the last few days.
Obviously, we know he can handle the mud, and you can see him on the screen right here. And obviously, he handles the mud. There's no problem there. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't do a whole lot today. Let him stretch the legs a little bit. But, you know, we're coming up to what is possibly going to be a breeze. They don't want this horse galloping up a storm 2 days before the breeze, so they're going to keep him pretty controlled, you would imagine. Now, I'm not calling the shots. Bob Baffert is. So, obviously, they could change it up. But from his patterns before, Justify's just going to come out and do a little something easy here, stretch the legs. You know, they may even go in school in the gate again. You just don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. Baffert calls the shots. Obviously, he does a great job. And you can see on the screen here, Justify, same as what we've seen. He's wanting to do more. Ears are up, flopping back and forth. When we talk about the ears going back and forth, I like to say that the horse is waiting on cue from the rider, and that shows you the signs of an intelligent horse. When you see the ear, especially when you get to certain marks around the racetrack, like let's say he's approaching the quarter pole here or the finish line, those horses' ears, they know that they're usually being asked at the quarter pole to quicken up, or the finish line's coming up, what do you want me to do? And you can watch those ears. He'll kind of flick them back and forth a little bit and say, all right, do you want me to just get in this gallop? Do you want me to pick it up a little bit? What do you want me to do? So when we talk about the ears flicking back and forth, we're talking about just waiting on the cue from the rider. And you can see, obviously, a very nice lead change there and just enjoying himself down the lane. Tight hold, heads up, moving well, everything you want to see. There's no knocks on Justify right now.
Yeah, just very, very fluid. Just some stuff from his resume. I mean, he became the first horse since Apollo in 1882 to win the Kentucky Derby after not having started as a 2-year-old. We didn't even know who this horse was early in the winter. He didn't even debut. He didn't even run his first horse race until February the 18th. Perfect from 5 starts. Brandon became the 9th horse to exit the Kentucky Derby unbeaten, joining Nyquist, Big Brown, Barbaro, Smarty Jones, Seattle Slew, Majestic Prince, Morvich, and the filly Regret way back in 1915. California-based horses have won the Kentucky Derby a lot recently and have captured the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown a lot as well. I'll have another California Chrome, American Pharaoh, and Justified. We're all based in California. He's going to make his first start at Belmont Park. The last 3 Belmont winners, Taprit, Creator, and American Pharaoh, had never run over that racetrack. Belmont is a quirky track. I mean, it's very sandy. It's 1.5 miles. It's going to be something completely different than what he's faced in the past. So far, after coming from Southern California, running here at Churchill Downs, and then at Pimlico, this is a horse that has not obviously had to take his track with him.
Right, and they talk about the Belmont being a galloper's race, and it's 1.5 miles, like you talked about. That track that is nicknamed Big Sandy, and it's a deep track, but when you're light on your feet, you get over it a little bit easier. Obviously, we can tell, we've all seen Justify the last month or so, very light on his feet for a big horse, so that's going to help him. His speed is going to help him. But yes, there is an advantage of being stable at Belmont, but when you see a horse that can take their track, they don't need to take the track with them. That's a big advantage in there. And class of the animal, a good mind in the Belmont, too. I mean, you got to be able to shut yourself off. You can't be a horse that wants to run off and just go as fast as you can because you're not going to make it. You know, they talk about jockeys in their heads, and I remember when American Pharaoh was on the lead in the Belmont, and I'm sitting there yelling to Victor Espinosa because he could really hear me, but you know, don't move yet, because they talk about that all the time, that all the winning jockeys at Belmont, they talk about don't move early. You know, when you think you're home, you're still 3/8 of a mile away. So sitting there yelling to Victor, don't move, don't move, don't move. And so having a jockey that's won this race before, or at least competed in it, or competed at Belmont is big too. And Mike Smith, we talked about it many times before. You guys talked about it yesterday. Money Mike Smith.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the perfect spot, and if the horse is good enough, they're going to get the job done.
Yeah, he's won the Belmont twice. Palace Malice and Drosselmeyer has Mike Smith. I mean, you talk about Belmont and a mile and a half and the composition of the track, and people are like, oh, it's a mile and a half. A closer is going to be dangerous. But speed is really dangerous in this race because, like you mentioned, it's a galloper's race. The pace is going to be slow. Regardless of who's in the field, and there's not a ton of speed, at least from the probables at this point that we've seen. So if he can just get out of the gate and get into a fluid stride and run on, I think we're going to see a better Justify in the Belmont than we saw in the Preakness. And he had a battle with a really good horse in Good Magic in the Preakness and then fend off some late challenges to get it done. I like the fact, Brandon, that he overcame some adversity in the Preakness Stakes and even makes him that much more battle-hardened.
Right, exactly. And history has shown, like you just said, closers typically do not do that great in the Belmont. You have to be in that top flight because if you let them get in that galloper's pace and then you're trying to run those horses down after somewhat slow fractions, it's just like in a turf race when you let a horse go out with easy fractions, mile and a half, mile and 3/4, they're going to be hard to run down. Same thing in the Belmont. Most horses will be near the front. And especially in this race, too, when you got Justify, you got such a – the thing that makes Justify special, many things, but his stride. I mean, for his stride, you know, there was a great picture on social media right after the Derby, and it showed the length of his stride. I mean, it's just unreal. And you can see it when he gets into full speed and he really reaches out with the fronts. If he gets into one of those gallop modes, they're not going to catch him with that stride.
Yep. It's just very mechanical.
Exactly, and very efficient as well. And you can see him jogging off here. He looks fantastic, and you know, seems like a happy horse. And he's coming up to a breeze in the next couple of days, one would think. So very excited. It'll be his first real breeze over the Churchill Downs strip. We've just seen him gallop and jog here. So really excited about that. I'm really excited to see that stride in full motion.
Dwayne Lucas was quoted as saying a couple days ago that we're not just going to let him have it. You know, they're going to take a shot with Bravazzo, who, you know, ran so well in the Risen Star to win, then a clunker in the Louisiana Derby, but he really bounced back nicely in the Kentucky Derby, deceiving the good performance there, and then ran a monster race in the Preakness. Lucas has won the Belmont Stakes on 4 occasions, and he's tied with Bob Baffert for the most Triple Crown wins ever by a trainer at 14. Good chance that tie is going to be broken one way or another coming up on June 9th.
Yeah, what a great job Coach has done with this horse and his horses in general. I mean, this horse, I remember last year watching this horse train. I like this horse a lot, and he ran well in the Breeders' Futurity and came back this year and really hasn't missed a beat, but he keeps running in all the races. I mean, they keep this horse fresh, somehow still running in all the races. I mean, Lucas, obviously it goes without saying, he does a fantastic job, but this is just another piece of his great work. Bravazzo here you can see on track, and he galloped the last couple days as well and looked well. I mean, there was no knocks on him. Sometimes he'll have his head cocked a little bit to the side, but he's just kind of looking around out there, taking it all in, and he looks great, and it's just one of those things. He's got the pedigree. That's one thing, too. He's not you know, we talked about Tenfold being a pretty big horse. Obviously, Justify is a pretty big horse. Bravazzo is not an overly big horse, but he can definitely hold his own in here, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if you see Bravazzo flying at the end of the Belmont just like he did in the Preakness.
Yeah, by awesome again. Pedigree suggests that maybe he'll like the mile and a half. The last time Dwayne Lucas won the Belmont Stakes was in 2000 with Commendable. The other Belmont winners, and he rattled off 3 in a row back in the mid-'90s. Tabasco Cat 94, Thunder Gulch in 95, editor's note in 1996, and he started 24 horses in the Belmont Stakes over the course of time. And at 82 years old, you talk to Coach and he'll say, how many more opportunities am I going to get running these horses in these kinds of races? You can tell he's just having fun. You go back to the barn, he's holding court. Dwayne Lucas is great for the game.
Yeah, he was out here yesterday with one of the new Churchill Downs club horses, and they were doing a little breeze, and you could just tell he was excited about these young horses, and he's excited about the older horses in the barn. He just loves what he does, and it's nice to see. He gets on the pony pretty much every day. He's out here, and at his age, I mean, it's just fantastic. He acts like he's 50 out there, and it's just great to see. It gives me energy being out here watching the horses train when you see a guy like that have so much energy, and you can just tell like he just still loves what he does, and obviously it shows with his work in here. Bravazzo looks great on the track, and I'm sure they are very thrilled with what they have.
Let's take a look at some of the records of trainers in the Belmont Stakes, and we've talked about it a little bit with some of the challengers. Dwayne Lucas in the Belmont, we talked about him winning it 4 times. 4 for 24 is actually a great record in a race like this. Dale Romans is 0 for 8 in the Belmont, but he's been close a few times. 3rd on 4 occasions. Nolan's Cat, First Dude, Medal Count, and most recently Keen Ice, who most famous for defeating American Pharaoh in the Travers later in the summer. And then Steve Asmussen in the Belmont Stakes, just 4 tries. He's won it once. He won it with Creator, was 2nd in 2007 with Curlin. And these guys know what they're doing. They know how to get horses to big races. When you have experience, particularly in a race like the Belmont Stakes, with the long grind of the spring, into the Derby, into the Preakness, into the Belmont, experience is, it's unquestioned how much importance it has.
Yeah, and no more so than I think with Tenfold, when you see a barn like that wheels back quickly. These guys are professionals. They're going to be Hall of Famers if they're not already. They make the right moves, and so that's what you got to pay attention in here too. If Dale sends his horse in, he thinks the horse is doing well. If Steve wheels back in 2 weeks, you better pay attention.
Right.
Things that the barn normally doesn't do, if they do it, you better pay attention.
Especially with really good horses.
Right, exactly.
Which is what we're talking about today.
They're not going to waste starts in here, and you saw Tenfold on the screen from yesterday. I mean, he looks fantastic. Obviously, the barn is happy with him. Listen to Steve on the radio. He's very happy with the horse as well, and he thinks this horse has tremendous talent. Son of Curlin, who he trained, and obviously he's not scared to go ahead in 2 weeks to wheel the horse back.
How much does a Steve Asmussen want to win this Belmont and deny the Triple Crown? You talked about it. He's quietly confident, right? I mean, you can tell he's got a little bit of swagger with this horse, Tenfold, at this point. And if you aren't the person in the position to win the Triple Crown, if you're the person in the position to deny the Triple Crown, that's pretty satisfying as well.
Yeah, I think everybody is being honest when they say, yes, the Triple Crown is good for the sport, but we're all competitors out here, whether it's handicappers, trainers, jockeys, whoever, and we want to win. We want to win. I mean, and that's what they want to do. Yes, they wouldn't mind to see a Triple Crown, but if they could defeat that horse trying to achieve the Triple Crown, they wouldn't be at all sad, trust me.
It's like Dale Romans is always going to be remembered for Keen Ice defeating American Pharaoh in a memorable addition to the Travers. And American Pharaoh, at that point, looked like he was invincible. Proved it later on in the Breeders' Cup Classic that may have just had an off day or circumstantially lost to Travers, but Dale will always be remembered for that. And I'm sure Steve would like to be put in that position to deny justify if he could, just like Dale Romans would, just like Dwayne Lucas would, just like Belmont would, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and that's what you love about the Steve Asmussen barn and all the other barns. They want their horses in the big spots, but they're not willing to sacrifice, like you talked about, starts down the road. They want a progression, and obviously these horses are doing well. Tenfold's doing well. Justify, obviously we're going to go to the Triple Crown. He's doing well, and that's all you can ask for. And there's another set of horses in Belmont, in New York. Hofberg's at Saratoga right now training. So, there's horses everywhere. They're going to come in. They're going to try to beat Justify, but it's just going to be a fun race, and especially too when your horse trying the Triple Crown is not a closer. He's a tactical speed or speed horse. They're going to play catch me if you can,
right.
You would think. And so that's just fun to have that horse and say, come and get me. And then you've got these new challengers. You've got Hofberg, who sat out the Preakness, Tenfold coming back quickly. So you can see Bravazzo on the screen here and looking good, and Coach on the pony.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, regardless of the result, and sometimes when the Triple Crown is denied, those races become just as memorable for the occasions. Twinspires.com's got a lot of great promotions. We talked about the new sign-up bonus earlier. They've got the Belmont Day Parlay. They got the Belmont Bankroll Builder as well. So again, you want to check this stuff out. If you're a member of Twinspires.com or you just want to join and take advantage of the other promotion, you can jump in on this as well. Opt in to the TwinSpires Belmont Bankroll Builder to start earning your $25 wagering bonus. Beginning June 1st, each day you bet at least $50 on races from Belmont Park, we'll give you a $5 bonus to play the Belmont Stakes Day card. So again, at least $50 starting June 1st on the Belmont races. We're going to give you a $5 bonus to play the Belmont Stakes Day card. Lots of great races on that card, in addition to the Belmont Stakes. Up to $25 total. It's free money. Take advantage of it. Available to all TwinSpires.com players. Must opt into the promotion at TwinSpires.com/offers to be eligible. Brandon, final thoughts? I mean, pretty much what we expected.
Pretty much, yeah. Just an easy gallop out there. Like I said, they're leading into a breeze soon, and they don't want to do too much. And just a big shout-out, too, to TwinSpires and Churchill Downs for allowing the public to come out, for allowing us to do the show. You get an insight into how these horses are training. You get to see what I see every day. And but just to have a special animal like Justify, like Tenfold, and all the other horses that are trying for the Belmont, it's just a real nice feature that Churchill Downs and TwinSpires have done.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do this every morning until Justify gets on that plane to leave for Belmont. So lots of important stuff coming up. One, maybe two works. We'll find out more from Bob Baffert when he gets here tomorrow morning. And we raced today at Churchill Downs, 12:45. Massive carryover pool in the single six jackpot of over $600,000. Follow the road to the Triple Crown. Lots of stuff, videos, insight, Justify's journey to destiny, possibly. All you got to do is join the email list. It's at KentuckyDerby.com. Videos, insight, Justify's journey to the Triple Crown. Just type in your email list, your email at KentuckyDerby.com. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this morning. We will be back tomorrow at 7:20 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for another edition of Road to the Triple Crown, presented by TwinSpires.com.